Good morning, everyone. It is 9 o'clock on Wednesday, April the 8th, 2026. If you would all rise, please, and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yes, unless you had a question. Let me just, I'm just going to talk it over real quick. Mr. Chairman, there was a question on the contract between Franklin County Corrections and Aramark for food services. It was explained to me, and Chief Harmon is here if there's more of an explanation needed, that it goes up and down as needed, and it looks like our prisoner population count's going to be higher, so that's going to necessitate higher food costs. But if you wanted to ask him more in-depth questions on item number 5, I see he's here in the room, and I know that he'd be glad to answer that.
Okay. I guess let's figure
Mr.
out.
Chairman, I move that we approve the current agenda with the removal of Resolution 2026-132 MOA to establish changes to the County Administrator's Employment Agreement.
Yeah, and on that, Mr. Chairman, I got a late call from our Sean Sant, our prosecuting attorney, that wanted to discuss that whole thing with you gentlemen. So that might be something that we wait. I don't know if that would be okay with you all.
We should be good to wait. If you guys would like to pull it later, we can. If not, you can adopt the agenda as is and then pull it or add it back on.
So your proposal was to pull item B from
Until next week.
until next week. I'm okay with that. And then we do have on item A there. So I'll second with a slight adjustment. Item A is actually not a resolution. It needs to be an ordinance. It has been treated as such in the lead up to this. So that would be, instead of resolution 2026-141, that is going to be ordinance 03-2026. So I'll second with that adjustment. All in favor of that amended agenda signify by saying aye.
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 Mr. Commissioners, I would ask that you then, in lieu of getting rid of item B, if you would then delegate authority to the chair of the board to enter into contract negotiations with myself, and then also give a guardrails for how much you want that to be included in the contract. I would ask that you add that to the agenda then, please.
Okay, so when we get down to that point, add that when we get to the regular business.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we add to regular business. Item B then would be to delegate our chairman to go into negotiations for a parameter of this contract to go over with legal. Amend the agenda.
Okay, so we'll amend the agenda to add a regular business item and discuss it when we get to regular business.
Yes.
Okay, with that, that moves us to,
Get a second on that?
yes, I'll second that. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That moves us to public comment. Anybody in the room for public comment? If you do have public comment, please come forward and you'll have 3 minutes.
Good morning, gentlemen. If you have not seen the news, 4 county prosecutors and 4 sheriffs have started a suit or complaint on the sheriff's bill. Contact has been made. Meeting of the minds and meetings are being projected to work on. I would like you to know that the Eastern Washington COG has decided to hear what a First Amendment petition looks like in preparation for court to come in on a constitutional ground. So I would invite meetings, a workshop with the county commissioners to learn more so that men equally informed will not often disagree. And that's where we're at, is being equally informed about what the options and how this coordinates and comes together. I have talked to each sheriff. I've left messages for the prosecutors. They are very, very busy people. There are state meetings that will be looking at this. There is movement also in Spokane for constitutional compliance committees in their county. So, gentlemen, I really want the best for Franklin County. I want the very best. I want to see a groundswell that the state and Olympia cannot ignore, and that the Constitution will be honored on their oath. On their oath. People are fighting over Iran right now, and I do ask that we keep our nation and our world in our prayers. But that is hinged on protecting the Constitution under oath. Every single one of you elected takes that oath. Oaths do matter. We haven't treated them as much, but that's what it's coming to. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else for public comment?
Hi, my name is Forrest Gordon. I'm here to speak about the ongoing injustice and corruption right here in our courthouse for family court. I'm speaking up in support of my family and community that have suffered from the abuse from our county commissioners. I stand before you with a list of commissioners, Jackie Brown, Diana Ruff, and Bronson Brown, that have intentionally violated my daughter's civil rights, my son's civil rights, and my own civil rights. Knowing the extent of their corruption and greed, I have feared to speak up about my horrible experience in Franklin County family court system until now. In August of 2024, my ex-wife magically obtained a protection order off false claims of domestic violence and sexual abuse without any police reports or any corroborating evidence to support any of the allegations made. Without a criminal adjudication, Jackie Brown violated my 14th Amendment and included my son and my daughter to that protection order. My ex-wife and I have only one child together, our 3-year-old son. I have raised my daughter on my own since birth for 6 years. My ex-wife and I were only married for 1 year. She had no legal custody of my daughter, and her attorney, Carrie Hayes Davenport, lied to the judge and said that they had obtained de facto parentage, which was a lie. My ex-wife never established de facto parentage, did not have possession of my daughter, did not have any legal custody whatsoever, but yet Jackie Brown knowingly violated my 14th Amendment and added my daughter to this protection order, knowing I am the only parent to my daughter, the only parent she has ever been with, the only parent she has ever known. You cannot imagine the emotional abuse and trauma this caused to my daughter and what this has done to her mental health, my son's mental health, and my mental health. Jackie Brown is responsible for this abuse and needs to be fired and sitting in a federal prison for violating the law. This goes on for over a year, fighting this in court, providing evidence to squash every allegation brought forth against me. I have had multiple commissioners simply refuse to view evidence that was already filed in their system ready for review. My ex-wife refused 13 plus supervised visits with no repercussions. I had to file and hold 2 contempt hearings where each judge continued to violate my civil rights and refused to listen to the audio recording from a previous commissioner stating the facts about the supervised visitation, which clearly stated mother was in violation by refusing my visits, yet nothing was done. This has to change, and it is all over the country, except here. There is a man, Robert Garza, that has implemented multiple bills across the country that resolve these issues in family court, and I think that we should adopt and implement these bills as well. The 14th Amendment states, "No state shall deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without the due process of law."
Thank you, sir. There will be a second public comment
I'll
period.
finish this at the next hearing.
Thank you. Anybody else for public comment?
Good morning, Commissioners. I wanted to talk to you today about the importance of making sure that the law and the Constitution are being followed. Many children are suffering, and a lot of them are becoming mentally unstable, and we need to do something to change this. Judges are just not viewing evidence, typically as innocent until proven guilty. That's not the case in family court. Personally, I have hired Carrie Hales Davenport, and she has lied on my case. She has misled the court and the judges, but what do you do when these same attorneys are endorsing these judges when they're running for their seat? When conflicts of interest are not being disclosed. We have Judge Norma Rodriguez sitting behind the bench when she falsely accused her ex of domestic violence to get the upper hand in family court. And not only that, she also went onto the system and had someone alter the system to say that she self-represented herself, when in reality, I have documentation proving that Mason Pickett, who is also my ex's attorney, represented her. So during my case, she goes and signs an ex parte order to take custody away from my son and to file a protection order against my son. One, she should have never signed that order. She personally knew me. I have photos with her. I went to many of the meetings during her campaign. She should have never even touched my case, because she had been at domestic violence galas and events where I had given my testimony of domestic violence and how I was able to get out of that system. Her sister personally made donations from me speaking and sharing my experience back then of how they did help me and guide me in one way by coming and sitting in court with me. But I never thought that they would turn around and use that same story that they benefited from and collected donations from to say that's called parental alienation. I never mentioned my ex's name. I never said anything that would describe him. But Norma Rodriguez turned around and signed this protection order, knowing that she shouldn't have been over my case, knowing that Mason Pickett had also represented her in her own case, and knowing that the system had been altered so that nobody else would ever know that there was a conflict of interest that wasn't being disclosed. So I am sitting here asking you to please hold these judges accountable. Lying is against the law. And not holding people accountable for the crimes they are committing is not okay. My son's dad has killed our son's dog when my son was 10 in front of our son. I fear every single day that one day I will wake up and be an Amber Rodriguez, that I won't get to see my son.
Thank you. There will be another public comment period. Is there anybody further for public comment?
Good morning again. My name is Marie Reddott. I'm a Richland resident, but I'm here because of the same things I brought up before. I did email you all, the commissioners. I emailed specific requests, and I did so based on the understanding that you do have the authority to act. I know that you've acknowledged it. Benton County commissioners have not, but you have. We're not asking you to act as an appellate court here, okay? Simply asking that within your jurisdiction, within your boundaries, under your oath, that you do act on this. You're hearing these individuals coming forward. You know there's over 230 cases, and every day you're hearing more of them, okay? And as I said before, they're gut-wrenching, and this stuff needs to matter to you, and your oath needs to matter to you. You have the authority to act. I had made very specific requests, and I'm asking that you follow through on those. I have a 30-day window that I made those requests on. If you do not get that email from me, I will send it certified. I will walk to your office. I'll do whatever is necessary to get it to you. But I want some answers on what you plan to do about the things that are being brought forward to you. I'm asking the same. I took your advice, just like I said I had. I'd already contacted our legislators. I've already contacted council members. I've already contacted way out of bounds from here, okay? Because it needs to matter to more people, because it's affecting more people. And you're seeing every day more and more and more cases, and it's going to grow. And you can no longer do nothing, good gentlemen. You cannot do nothing on this. Okay, this is an obligation, and you can't say that you don't have the time. You can't say that it's too much for you. This is your role, and you're challenged with this because of the authority that you have. Much is being expected of you. Okay, I've got no stake in this. I'm not related to anybody here. I'm just a grandmother that's gutted by what's happening. I'm watching it in real time, and every single day that there's court here and in Benton County, you have these commissioners, these court commissioners, and these judges making these decisions over people that are wrong, absolutely 100% wrong. I've laid out all of the violations for you in the email. I've got them here today. We'll go over them, and I've laid out some of the specific requests. And I'll get to those on the next half, and I'll let somebody else speak now. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else for public comment?
Good morning, Franklin County Commissioners. My name is Fran Wondrak. I'm a resident of Kennewick, a business consultant, and a protective single mom who's deeply committed to the safety of our community, especially our children. Thank you for the work that you do to make the city of Pasco a safer place. I'm here today to share a framework I've developed to address the growing concern around LRA placements under RCW 71.09. I initially developed this framework for the city of Richland, Washington, where I've had a long-standing relationship with Mayor Richardson for nearly 20 years. Through that work, it's become clear that focusing on accountability at the facility level, particularly through licensing and operational standards, is one of the most promising paths forwards in addressing the challenges that these facilities can present in our neighborhoods. What I've created is not a ban, and it does not interfere with state placement authority, which would not work. Instead, it's a legally structured, defensible system that allows cities to regulate how these facilities operate, ensuring supervision, reporting, and compliance over time. I understand that Pasco's code structure differs from Richland's, particularly with zoning and licensing being separated. Because of that, I've already began adapting the framework specifically for Pasco so that it aligns with your existing municipal code and processes. My proposed work is also currently being reviewed by our three of our local legislative reps as part of a broader discussions around policy improvements and accountability measures at both the state and local level. So that's been provided to Rep. Bernard, Binky, and Connors. On a personal level, this work is deeply important to me. I'm a survivor of severe domestic violence, including a near-lethal incident that occurred in front of my little girl, who was 3 years old at the time. When I look into my little Sophia's eyes, who is 7 now, I see the eyes of all the children in our community, including the judges, the commissioners, the sheriffs, the police department, everyone. And I see the system and the systemic failure. That drives my passion to help close these gaps where systemic failures fall short in protecting them. As part of that broader effort and my passion, I've also developed additional policy proposals, including what I refer to as the Decker Law, which is focused on providing clear guidance and protections for judges and court professionals handling domestic violence cases. That proposal is currently under bipartisan legislative review. I've also collaborated on a proposed amendment to a Washington statute addressing high-risk offenders and custodial interference in coordination with Sheriff Mike Morrison in Wenatchee for RCW 9A.40. But today, my focus is on offering something practical and immediately actionable for Pasco. I'd very much like to provide the city with a copy of that framework that I created for City of Richland. In my proposal, I'm offering to work collaboratively with the staff to refine it in a way that fits your code and structure. So with your permission, I can offer that.
Thank you. Just as a point of reference, we are the Board of County Commissioners. All of your references has been to the city of Pasco.
Okay.
And so that would be needed to be forwarded to the city of Pasco.
Okay.
So,
Do you
thank
know a name of someone that I could contact there? I think I've emailed you before, Brian.
Yeah, I'll be in touch with you. My apologies, I've been under the weather.
Yeah, that's okay. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Anybody further?
Good morning, I'm Deborah Windsor. I'm the mother of Paris Windsor, and I have a grandson who is almost 5 years old, who's been taken from his mother under false allegations without any true evidence of a domestic violence charge. She has never been violent or abusive or controlling in any way to the bio dad or her son. She doesn't drink, smoke, do drugs. She works. She's cared for her son his whole almost 5 years. The bio father has not seen him in 1 year, and 7.5 weeks ago, he was ripped from his mother's arms. I am shocked and appalled that this could possibly even happen here in Franklin County or the state of Washington. This is not right. These charges have been brought against her under false allegations. She did not have an attorney. He had an attorney. Now she does have an attorney. She had to have an attorney, a criminal attorney. and also a parenting attorney. We're requesting a rehearing with her attorney and the original judge who was assigned to her case, who was removed from her case. Paris does again have two attorneys, again, a criminal and family law attorney. So since my grandson has been in the custody of his bio father, he has been seen by my oldest daughter with a black eye at a grocery store. His demeanor to his aunt, which is normally very loving, was silent, and he was very standoffish. We don't know the extent of our baby's trauma since we have not seen him again in 7.5 weeks. We are requesting that someone look into his case. I don't know a lot about the law, but I am learning a little bit more as we go. So we appreciate you hearing us. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody further for public comment?
Good morning, Commissioners. I spoke last week. My name's Mindy
Thank you.
Tanimoto. I gave you guys just a really brief rundown of my incident last week, and to follow everybody else here, similar situation where I'd had my kids for 5 years, and Carrie Hales Davenport comes in and twists everything, files false allegations of abuse, which I went through all of the investigations, CPS and the police, all to say that they were closed and unfounded, and yet Commissioner Holt still takes my children from me. He even stated, and I have the transcript, because we gave it to him to show him what he said, that there was no evidence whatsoever. But he was going to believe part of my 12-year-old who had been kept from me for several months, alienated against me for several months. He was going to believe part of her statement. And so because of that, Miss Hales Davenport then makes me go through several evaluations that cost thousands of dollars. And now I'm being told, and then I have to go through supervised visits, which that costs thousands of dollars. And that's going to go on for a year. It's throwing me close into bankruptcy. While my ex goes and to that ICE protest and hits that car after being aggressive with kids on the side of the street. He has a no trespass order from my youngest son's elementary school. That's just this year. And he also has, the kid's dentist also has a restraining order against him. And the kid's pediatrician has also called CPS on him because my youngest son ended up with a black eye while in his care. None of these things, there's nothing on my history, but if you pull up my ex's name, he has been to court several times with other instances. And yet Commissioner Holt and Carrie Hales Davenport take my children from me. And I am sitting here near close to bankruptcy just to barely see my kids. This isn't right. I don't know if there is something where somebody can come in and go through my case because I have it all laid out. I've already sent this to the Court of Appeals. But as you guys know, that can take a year or longer. And by then, all of this is going to be past then. I can't even afford an attorney. And he has Carrie Hales Davenport, who I am literally writing to every single day because she files motion after motion, declaration after declaration, to inundate me and any other attorney. I would love for you guys to have, or somebody to have, an attorney just go through some of our cases. Look through them, because they're not right. I've had one attorney who worked really hard, Mr. Jared Hayes. And he told me, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know why these judges and commissioners are ruling this way because I've gone through all of our stuff. We have all the evidence to prove what they're saying is wrong. But they're ruling against me and I don't know why. He has gone through it over and over and then he gave up because he said my bill was getting too high. I just don't know if there's any way any of you can get any attorney to actually take a look at some of our cases individually.
Thank
And something
you.
needs to be done.
Thank you for your comments. Anybody further for public comment? Is there anybody on the phone? No.
My name's Ian D. Revis. I'm a resident of Franklin County. In February of 2020, Detective Steve Warren came to my house with CPS and Detective Warren told my wife, I see no bruising, I see no evidence of abuse, I see nothing, but CPS is worried I'm going to take your kids. CPS said, the sheriff took your kids, we can't, so we have to follow through. I spent 6 years. I can attest to every one of these people here. I don't know any of them, but I can attest to what they're saying is true. I spent 6 years in family court, never seeing my children, and I watched case after case, many times, 10 to 12 cases every time I was in court, and every one of them was the same. These commissioners and these judges, they pat each other's backs, they pat each other's pockets. They don't, the first time I went to court, I was dumbfounded. My attorney came out of the same room as the prosecuting attorney and the judge, laughing after they was eating cupcakes and drinking coffee together, talking about what they were going to do with my case. These children are the ones that suffer. 6 years, my children were in 15 different foster homes, moved from home to home to home. The children are the ones that suffer. The children are the ones that, and if I could speak for hours, there's 80% of the sex trafficked children come from foster care. Why are we allowing these judges and commissioners to do these things and feed the sex trade industry with our children from our communities? This should be, and like the last lady talked about, the good attorneys can't do it because we can't afford to pay them. And so then we get all these attorneys that are just patting the judge's pockets, and they're working back and forth. If you do this, then I'll do this for you. And something's got to be done. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else for public comment? With that, we'll close public comment. And Mr. Commissioner, I would entertain a motion for our consent calendar.
Mr. Chairman, I move for approval of consent agenda items 1 through 10 with explanation and just clarity on the food services agreement with our captain of the jail.
So I'll second that. And Chief, I believe that asking for comment from you.
Good morning.
Good morning, sirs.
Morning.
How are you? So we started a new contract with Aramark. One of the reasons why we did that was to have accountability. As you know, we $1 million was missing from the old Summit, our food contractor, and basically we wanted more oversight on them. So we went with Aramark, and one of the things that they have on their matrix is our population count. So if we stay within 220, we won't see that 71,000 increase. But if we stay above 240 for the rest of the year, they're going to raise our rates on that part. And we could see less than 71 or a total of 71. And that just depends on food charges and things like that. So that's what's going on, what you see. But they will stay within the budget for Summit. And that's what they're trying to do.
So the $1 million that you were speaking about was due to they can order food from any restaurant and pay, or a loved one can pay for it, correct? And this is through, explain that?
So under Summit, remember we had an issue where there was 3 years where they were not giving us our ration of the fees, and basically we saw that $980,000, and so no one had oversight on that, and they were losing people. Summit, they were losing people. Seems like monthly, and no one was keeping control of our account. Well, with Aramark, I've had more conversations with them than I can. Every week there's someone coming to talk to me about the eye care packages and things like that. And we actually see what's going out and what's coming in.
But my point is the fact that this money wasn't being taken, it just wasn't getting received by us,
Wasn't being
our
received by us.
portion.
That's
And
correct.
now that you're in charge, we have complete
That's correct.
transparency. The money is being taken in, it's been documented so that we are above board on everything. And
Absolutely.
I thank you, Captain Harmon, for doing a great job on getting this out in the public openness so that everybody can see.
Right.
Doing that job of accountability, and I thank you for that. I have no more questions.
So the fiscal impact that is described in front of us, it's up to, depending on the need.
It could be up to 71
Yeah.
over our projected budget for the year. But if we stay below 220 for the rest of the year, we'll be within budget.
Thank you. And then, speaking of the reconciling, is that a monthly reconciliation or is that a yearly, as far as the commissary?
It's a monthly.
Monthly, okay. That's very helpful.
It is very helpful, and it's pretty nice to have a banking system now that actually goes through our treasurer's office. It wasn't like that before. It actually was going to a third-party vendor, and then somehow it was coming back to us through our treasurer's office, and now we're actually able to do that at a weekly basis through our own treasurer's office to reconcile our budget. And so it's nice. It's nice to see those.
It's helpful to have it
Oh, yeah,
in-house.
absolutely. See where we're balancing out and things like that. And they did bring in new machines and kiosks and things for the public so that people could have an easier time at bonding out their loved ones and things like that.
Thank you.
I
Thank you,
have
Chief. Go
One
ahead.
more question, Mr. Chairman. So if our jail count goes above 240, these are not all being brought in by the Franklin County Sheriff's Department. We receive funds for housing of prisoners from Adams County, City of Pasco. Doesn't that offset the increase in the meal charge?
It actually goes the other way because
It does.
we're actually, even though we're being paid by Pasco and things like that, we have to take into account fuel charges for getting extra food here to feed the people. Those things play into it, and it's a very hard balancing act when you start to get the numbers. And the company Airmark, in the contract there is a matrix you can see that actually shows you what they'll be charging us if our numbers go above 240, and it goes all the way up to our max capacity of 320.
So I know competition brings out the best in everybody. Is there other food companies we could be negotiating with, and why this is still transpiring to get these more in order? Because usually if you buy more, the price is reduced.
And they do this, and with Summit we didn't have that capability. Summit was pretty locked into vendors like Cisco, and that was it. And we had to purchase those items through Cisco, and there was no other competition. And with Airmark, they actually have 4 vendors that they can go through to look at price differences and things like that. So I'll give you an example. Under Summit, last month we had a high bill of about $9,000 for 1 week, right? And so I received our first week for Airmark, and it was $7,100. So that's a big difference, and that's how they look at things, is go out and purchase items, with different vendors versus what Summit was doing.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
All right, thank you.
So we have a motion and a second for the adoption of our consent agenda items 1 through 10 as presented. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. The consent agenda is approved. Next to regular business, on this, we're going to discuss, Mr. Commissioner, you said you'd like to see our board chairman, who is not with us today, negotiate that and maybe put some perimeters. Would you speak to that further?
Well, are we going to go with that first or the closed record hearing?
Oh, we just put that under regular business, so that'd be first.
Yeah.
Commissioners, I just want to,
Excuse me?
If I could, I had talked to Administrator Dansel, and I was wondering if I could just address the board as a possible path to resolve that item for discussion
okay.
of the board, if that works for
Go
you.
ahead.
Commissioners, it's kind of an awkward situation when you have the proposal to review a contract or an employment agreement, and I just wanted to expedite the process along and maybe put some clarity on what I think the board is trying to do and the objectives set forth. This is essentially, we're up for like a routine review, just like for any other employee, and unlike where we're trying to work out a hiring or a contracting with other individuals, we would bring them in and we would work directly with the administrator. But because this is involving the administrator's position, what we want to do is make sure this is just a coordinated effort. And one of the proposals that we could do that is if the board discusses a proposal for modifying the terms and conditions, the board could make a motion, take consensus on that today, where the effective date would be today, and then we could work with the board's direction on getting all the terms and conditions of any modification put together in a contract and then sign that off for a later presentation to the board. So just for clarification, what the idea would be is, because we have to have these in a public meeting when we're talking about salaries or benefits or things like that, and I know Mr. Dansel wants to make sure this is a transparent process, it's done correctly. Yeah, he was out of the office. There was different times where I was unavailable to come down and speak, and I just had a brief opportunity to speak with him this morning about, hey, I think this is kind of a good path that we could do going forward on this. So what I would propose is, if the board wants to make a proposal, if you have terms or conditions in mind that you would like to seek modifying or changing, the board could actually make that effective with today's date, with the direction to our office to basically take those terms and conditions, put it together in a modified contract, then we could come back at a later time and sign off with that, if that's agreeable with the board. What sometimes happens is we have a discussion, and because it has to be in an open meeting, there's kind of a delay process, and I think this has been on kind of off and on with the scheduling of different things that we've had up before the board. There was a lot going on with the expo that we had and everything else, so I didn't want to cause a further delay for having that. So if the board had an idea today on kind of what kind of terms or conditions or modifications, proposals, we could take that from the public meeting with today as the effective date for those changes, and then simply include that into a written contract where we could present that later to the board. Or the other option would be, is generally speaking, if the board has some general terms and conditions, authorize the chairman of the board to then discuss with HR and our office to kind of coordinate that effort. We just needed to have the terms kind of laid out in the public forum of what you would like us to put into the contract, and that makes it so that everybody's aware of what those terms and conditions are. And I just wanted to clarify, because I think we had kind of a misunderstanding last time this came forward, and I think this just makes sense to have this path. It's not that we're not weighing in one way or the other. No. We're just trying to do it with the consensus of the board, and that's follow the board's direction.
And that's the direction we're going to take, is we're going to authorize the chairman or the vice chairman to sit down with yourself and HR and go through the terms. That's what we're proposing today for next week's agenda.
And do you have those terms, like as far as
go ahead. We'll do our job here. I'm not familiar with the process where the PA's office comes up and gets in this. We'll work on it, and then we may. I appreciate that. We'll take a crack at it, I think, or at least I'm certainly happy to. Mr. Commissioner, if you've got some terms, I'm happy.
Well, what I'd like to do is
it.
just to authorize the chairman, and if the chairman is not present, for yourself, to go over the terms, write them down with Mr. Dansel, with HR, and our prosecuting office, and go through them. I guess that's what everybody wants to know the details, which is open and transparent.
So I appreciate that. I wrote down some things that I think would be good in the terms for our administrator that I would like to see in it. I agree with you. I think it'd be fine for our chairman to be the one that negotiates or coordinates through that. I think that I would like to see in the contract. I would like to see annual salary of $210,000. I would like to see a $1,000 per month vehicle allowance if the administrator chooses to take that allowance, or that we provide a county vehicle, one or the other, but not both. And another piece of it, I'd like to see a reduction by half of a severance, a reduction by half of what currently exists in his contract. And so that's three of the items that I would particularly like to see in that contract. Did you have anything other that?
Those are the three we discussed in executive session, and now they're out in the public, and I'm in agreement.
So that's what I'd like to see in it, and I'd like for you to work with our chairman and work towards that end and toward a resolution for that.
And I'd just like to add that since Mr. Danzel has been here, we have gotten so much done. And we had a federal forum here with people from USDA, NRCS, very helpful for the whole community, in fact, the whole state. And I appreciate everything he's done. He's traveling a lot on our behalf, trying to compensate him for that with that $1,000. So all we're trying to do is make it appealing enough that he'll stick around and keep doing the fine job he's been doing.
Thank you.
Anything different from that? That works. Good information. Okay. Next, we'll go to item A. We have a closed record public hearing. And so, Mr. McCart, if you would please come forward.
Commissioners, in front of you, you have a closed record hearing. I'm here to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Mr. McCart. I will open closed record hearing for Zulu Charlie 2026-01, the SEPA of 2026-02, an application to rezone a 49.06 acre parcel from AP 20 to RC 5 for the K&K Ag LLC application. So with that, Mr. Commissioner, ask you the question: have you had any ex parte communication that you need to disclose about this matter at this time in relationship to this hearing?
No.
I also have had no ex parte communication and have no disclosures that I need to make. So with that, I'm assuming, Mr. Commissioner, that you do not feel the need to to recuse yourself?
No.
I do not as well. Is there any member of the public that wishes to have one of us commissioners recuse ourselves from this? Seeing no response, we'll continue to move forward with that. And any questions, Mr. Commissioner, for the staff on this closed record hearing?
Just want to ask Wes if the applicants realize that they are now going to be out of the South Columbia Basin Irrigation District it's written plainly in here that they'll no longer receive water from the South Columbia Irrigation District to irrigate the land, and they will have to, if they want water, they're going to have to go back to a water service contract.
Yeah, they would have received that comment, sir. Yes.
They did. They are
yes,
fully aware of that.
All the comments that we get on every application go to the applicants.
Okay.
Any public comments, any agency comments, they receive a copy of those.
Just so that they're fully aware that that's triple the cost, if not more, for the water.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm good.
You do need to just state whether or not you've reviewed the record, the entire record, both of you, please.
Yes,
Sure.
I have.
So, Mr. Commissioner, you have reviewed the entire record?
That's why I brought up the water service contract, yes.
Yes, sir. I have too. Looked through it carefully. I have no further questions. I see no questions from or anybody from the public that was a part of the closed record. And so with that, Mr. Commissioner, I would entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I ask for clarity on the ordinance number. Is this the ZC number?
This is ordinance 03-2026.
03. That's the one thing I didn't see on here, what ordinance number it is. Mr. Chairman, I move for approval of ordinance 03-2026, granting the rezone request filed under file ZC 2026-01, SEPA 2026-02, as recommended by the Planning Commission, with 5 finding of fact and 1 conditional of approval.
I second that motion. Any further questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
And with that, this hearing is now closed. Thank you,
Thank
Mr.
you.
McCart. So we have pulled item B for potential addressing it next week, and that takes us to Commissioner Administrator updates. Mr. Administrator.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First and foremost, with hearing the testimony over the past few weeks, I know that there was discussion amongst the board, and I think we ought to do this. Do you want me to schedule a workshop for the issues that have been brought to the fore so that we can have sort of a one-stop shop and we can put people potentially in touch with folks that might have answers for them that are
Absolutely, I think so. I think we need to give them direction.
Yeah.
We are a board of commissioners. I know we take an oath.
Yes.
And we're dealing with a lot of stuff in Franklin County. And this is more of the courts, and seems to be a problem in the courts. And I will address this when I come to my time to speak here, what I've found.
Okay. Well, so then the idea, yes, a platform for these folks to be able to discuss what's been going on and possibly invite folks that might be able to help the situation. Okay, I'll
Yes,
go ahead.
please. I would like to see a
Okay, we'll go ahead and
workshop.
get that scheduled, and Teresa, Ms. Alvarez, as soon as possible, I think would be the best course of action there. I want to thank Ms. Alvarez. So, as you well know, I was very ill and ended up with pneumonia as well. And so, when you have that sort of thing go on, you got to rely on your staff, and we've just got the best in the world. And I don't know how else to say that, but it's an honor to work with you. So thank you very much for all your hard work. What I'm doing is I'm going through right now, and I'm all that whole week I was gone, I'm picking up where I left off and trying to go through a million emails. I know that you gentlemen are familiar with that. When you're gone for a day, you miss 200 emails. If you're gone for a week, you're into it 600, 700, 800 sometimes. So I'm trying to pick up where I left off and get to everybody. And I want that to be known, that for the folks that are going, hey, maybe this guy owes me a phone call back, I promise it's coming. I'm just going through my list of folks that I've missed, and I'll be back in touch with you. That being said, I had good conversations with a lot of the staff. I will say this, a good portion of the staff, it's their kids' spring break this week. And so if you've noticed that might be some folks that are missing that'll be coming back towards the end of the week or whatever, it's their kiddo spring break, and I'm a proponent of that. Without getting on any kind of a soapbox, but the folks that come in, I can't imagine not being with my babies. And so I've told staff that it's an important thing for me to that they take time with their children and their kiddos, and that they're able to do that because life's too short. Finally, I'd just say that appreciate you gentlemen and working through an issue that I know is not fun to talk about in the public. And so just appreciate that. I'm here for you. If there's something that has slipped through the cracks, just let me know. Or if there's something in the past week that's really been gnawing at you, just let me know, and I'll be more than happy to tackle whatever that might be. No pun intended. I don't know if I could tackle former NFL tight ends, but I'll try.
Well, if 2 replaced hips, I think you'll have no problem.
Okay. And I just wanted to say thank you also to you, and I want to thank your son. I don't know if a lot of folks know in the county the service that your son is performing, but as we're talking about some of the issues that affect the world, I don't know of a finer young man and somebody that I hope that when my boys grow up that they could be more like than Mr. Bauman Jr. So I just wanted to say that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Commissioner?
Yes, this last week, being that we're going between months, very little meetings to attend, but I did have a chance, and I've talked to a gentleman up north, and I think that the issue at hand here with these courts is actually U.S. Title 42, subsection 1984. I encourage you to look that up. Now, this is the Civil Rights Act issue. You remember Rosa Parks? Has to do with her. Now, in the Biden administration, they removed the penalty for this. And the penalty for any judge out of compliance with the rule of law is a $10,000 fine and a year in jail. They removed that. You need to be calling your representatives, Newhouse and Baumgardner, and putting a push on getting that re-implemented. Because when a judge is found out of compliance with following the rule of law, they have to pay $10,000 and a year in jail. They follow the law. This is what we need to be looking at. We only have so much power here as commissioners. We cannot remove a judge. We can't sanction a judge. We can't discipline a judge. They are elected by the people of this county and Benton County. Now, there is a push for Benton and Franklin County to separate Superior Court. We welcome that. We are growing exponentially. We're going to be a county on our own here pretty quick, standing on our own. And I'm heartened that you're not getting an ear from Benton County, from those commissioners. And I thank you for coming in here and making us aware of what's going on. I know Andy Rivas personally, and I know what he had to go through. I didn't know it was this magnitude. And it's very disheartening. Is there corruption in the human race? Absolutely. There was only one that was on earth without sin, and that was Jesus Christ. So, have faith. Let's fight the good fight. Let's finish the race and keep our faith. Be strong. Keep fighting. Gather as many people as you can. Numbers matter. And we will get this straightened out for you. Thank you. You will get it straightened out on your own by bringing people forward that are willing to stand and fight. That's the way we're going to save our nation, too. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Commissioner. This last week had a fairly busy week. Wanted to say thank you to our chaplain in the jail, our lead chaplain, Dr. Gordon Walsh, as well as our jail chief Harmon. I had the opportunity to meet with 3 different classes this last week of people that are enrolled in a program to help them figure out a better recipe. When you're in jail, your recipe is a little bit off somehow, and so I just really appreciate Chaplain Walsh and Chief Harmon as they're trying to empower some of these people with tools that they can get back on track in their life. And later today, there's going to be some graduations for those that have been going through this program and have completed phase 1. And I was really impressed as I listened to them teach the class. I sat there quietly and listened to the process and the program, and really appreciate it. And they're having some neat success. So thank you to both of you gentlemen and to Captain Jansky for all your support and coordination with that program. Last week had Benton Franklin Transit Executive Board meeting in preparation for the regular board meeting of tomorrow night. And there will be I believe it's at 4:30 tomorrow, there will be a special meeting where the board will be presented with and discuss in executive session the investigation that has been going on of the CEO of Ben Franklin Transit, who is currently on administrative leave as this investigation has been going on from a third party. So the executive board will, or the board will have a executive session and a special meeting tomorrow, I believe, at 4:30, and then the regular board meeting to follow at 6 p.m. Had the opportunity to meet with our new facilities director, Mr. Tim, and really appreciated his enthusiasm, his excitement for the new job, and just his passion. Really appreciated reading his resume and seeing what he's done previous to coming to Franklin County, and his excitement and the sparkle in his eyes as he approaches this new position is really exciting to see that. Had the opportunity to spend some time with him, and one thing, Mr. Commissioner, that think that we as a board should think about, this is the anniversary, the 250th anniversary of the greatest nation on the face of the earth in history. And I think we need to celebrate that somehow. And I'm not sure exactly what that looks like. Would ask that you help think about that a little bit. You think about that a little bit. What can we do to, I'm biased. I believe that this is the most beautiful courthouse in the state, and I think it'd be nice to show it off for the 250th anniversary. So not sure exactly what that looks like, but think that there's opportunity there. Would like us to explore. And with that, as I think about the greatest nation on the face of the earth, that we just passed Easter Sunday, and just the renewal and the rising again and the new life that represents to our community. And a lot of stuff has happened over the last 7 days with relationship to the US of A. And I really think about that soldier that didn't get left behind, and what that represents to our country, the collateral benefits that will have when those that stand between us and whatever the enemy would have, when they know that they're not going to be left behind. There's no chance. And really thankful. As I've pondered that, I'm very thankful for our military and for the Easter season, and for new life. I love spring. I love what it represents. And Mr. Commissioner, you have a thought I can see.
Yeah, and it was brought forth, and you realize he went down on Good Friday, and he was hidden in a crevice or a cave until Sunday, and he was resurrected or saved on Sunday.
Very amazing.
Direct correlation with Easter. With Good Friday is when Jesus died. Sunday's when he is risen. So it was powerful to think about that, and it's a direct reflection. And I just hope that we as the people of this nation will turn from our evil ways and seek the Lord's face so He can heal our land.
Absolutely,
that's what I pray for.
Absolutely, thank you for that. Also had a pre-agenda meeting with our administrator, and some coordination in preparation for this week. And with that will be my report. Mr. Administrator, next would be correspondence.
Thank you, gentlemen. Before you, and I apologize, there will be more correspondence coming. I will say there was a voluminous amount of correspondence that was directed towards me that I'd like to make available to you, gentlemen, as it pertains to the workshop that we were just talking about. But it would be too much for you to be able to get through right here. But that's how much of information I do have, and so thank you to folks for sending that my way. The other thing too is Commissioner Bauman had mentioned this. I was going to introduce Tim Lewis as our new facilities director. With that, Tim came to us through the assessor's office, and you'll see in your correspondence that Assessor Rosenau has asked to be able to fill that position. And so that's up to the Board of Commissioners, but I know that that Assessor Rosenau's here. I didn't know if he wanted to talk to it at all, or if you gentlemen wanted to entertain it, but that was the correspondence that we had this week.
Thank you for that. We do have a letter in our correspondence. I would be in favor of
Yes.
Accepting that. So
I believe all we need is a consensus.
And again, Mackenzie, or Council Lloyd, you tell me if you think I'm wrong here. I think it'd be best if it was the motion second.
Okay.
I agree with that, yeah, just to have it all on the record relatively clear for everybody.
So we'll have to add that to the agenda first.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we add an addition to the agenda at this time for replacement of a position in the assessor's office.
I'll second that. All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Mr. Chairman, I move that we give the assessor's office the permission to replace the hiring of Tim to our, what did he?
Replace
Facility
Tim's
director.
position, and yes.
So we can replace that position with a grade 15, step 3.
I'll second that. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Mr. John. I think that you have been working on that maybe, and hopefully that'll expedite that process. With that, we are to the second public comment period. Anybody that wishes to make a public comment, you're welcome to come forward, and you have a 3-minute time frame for that comment.
I'm just going to make this quick and pick up right where I left off. The 14th Amendment states no state shall deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without the due process of law. The great fear of all family courts is that one day some father is going to make it into federal court and they're going to have to rule that these gag orders are unconstitutional, these supervised visitations are unconstitutional, because if there has been a criminal adjudication that a parent is unfit or unwilling to parent, then there is no basis for the court to interfere in the parent-child relationship. There is no 14th Amendment basis, and violating this is treason, deprivation of rights under the color of law, and an emolument violation. A commissioner is not allowed to violate my civil rights in the claim of best interest of the child, because it clearly is not. Through personal experience with practically every family court commissioner here in Franklin County, the so-called best interest is however they can benefit from Title IV defunding, bribery, and friendly favors well before considering the facts of a child's actual best interest. Otherwise, filed documents would have been actually reviewed in my case and not ignored. This is a systemic problem that needs to change. All these commissioners are complicitly violating their oaths of office, and they all need to be held accountable. After 1 whole year of my daughter basically living in hiding, me being her only parent, and a court order claiming I am to be nowhere near her, along with unconstitutional supervised visits with my son only when mother would allow it. 1 year passes with no justice, no accountability. I jumped through every hoop that the court asked: mental health evaluation, drug and alcohol evaluation, domestic violence courses, parenting courses. I did them all. I provided evidence of completing them all, while the court blatantly refused to view said evidence that was already filed with the court. 1 year with zero communication or zero attempts to contact mother, as the protection order states, and without any police reports or any corroborating evidence to support her allegations. She was then granted 1 more year of this protection order, 2 weeks before a divorce trial, when this all should have been handled in one case, a divorce case, and not several different cases for the same matter. They removed my daughter from the protection order, but still included my son once more, violating my 14th Amendment once more. Why would that commissioner remove my daughter, one child, from the protection order, but keep my son on it? This makes absolutely no sense, that I am fit to continue raising my daughter on my own, but I am allowed to have nothing more than 2 hours paid supervised visitation once a week. That makes absolutely no fucking sense to me at all. Due to this abusive litigation, I have not been able to see my own son in over a year. 1 whole year, I have not seen my son. I have not had 1 visit, 1 phone call, even a picture of my son. Imagine the emotional and mental abuse the Franklin County commissioners have put my innocent children through. They should all be in federal prison, but they aren't. Am I able to keep speaking? I'm almost done.
Sir, that was a 3-minute. We have a 3-minute time limit.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Well, this needs to change.
Thank you.
We have
Anybody further?
Jackie Brown, Diana Ruff, and Bronson Brown. These are all tyrants. Tyrants. And they need to be
Comments?
removed from office.
Anybody further for public comment?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to clarify, when he's speaking of commissioners, he's speaking of court commissioners
Family court commissioners.
and not county commissioners.
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, and I would like to say thank you for everything that you're doing. Honestly, I look forward to this day because I know that we're being heard. And that brings me peace of mind, knowing that I might be able to bring my son home. For the last few days, I have been speaking to a mom who went to Kennewick School District to speak to the district about her daughter being groomed by a teacher. Mr. Bronson Brown, who was the attorney for the school district at the time, did everything he could to sweep it all under the rug. She submitted declarations. She had evidence of what this teacher was following on social media. He was following underage girls, sexualizing themselves. I don't know of any man who believes in protecting children who would do that. Mr. Bronson Brown proceeded to say that there was not enough evidence for him to prosecute this man and covered for this man. He's still a teacher at the Kennewick School District. Mr. Bronson Brown also, when Amber Rodriguez came with concerns for safety, also protected Elias Huizar, who had also been charged for having a sexual relationship with an underage gal and actually was pregnant with his kid. Mr. Bronson Brown also protected him. In my case, Mr. Bronson Brown took my son away on assumptions, on no evidence, filed a protection order to take him away from my care, and gave him to someone who has more than 15 years worth of evidence of abuse, from killing our dog to shooting at the sand dunes through the window while my 4-year-old is sitting on the front of the truck. This is ridiculous. Mr. Bronson Brown has showed us a pattern and what he stands for. And we have to believe that that's exactly what he stands for. Protecting pedophiles and protecting abusers. And I really hope that we can get to the bottom of this, because this is not okay. It's not just my family being harmed. I have over 300 families. I don't see Bronson Brown here today or Jackie Stam. Actually, in the first case I talked to you about, Mom was able to get a protection order against this teacher for her daughter. Mr. Bronson Brown went and spoke to Jackie Stam behind closed doors, and suddenly that protection order was dismissed. That should have never happened.
Thank you.
Thank
for
you
your
so
comments.
much.
Good morning again. Thank you for the time. Again, I am thanking all of you here for listening, and it is your job to listen, but I understand you've also maybe have some action that you want to take now, and that's the first I've heard of it. So I appreciate that, if there is any going to be coming forward. I have not received a response to the emails that I sent to you, and I did have very specific requests. And since you are under the commission form of government here, and you do have an authority to act, I'd ask that you do. And it's not that that we're asking for you to act as an appellate court, as I've stated. Okay, I'm asking you to preserve records. Has that happened? These need to be preserved. Okay, I want to know that. Refer the credible allegations to the proper places. We've done it. We've sent over the complaints to the Commission of Judicial Conduct in the bar. The response is there's so many that it's weeks out before we may be able to even investigate. Preserve records. Make a statement. If you're going to be silent and not acting in the face of these harms that are documented, the number's growing. Marcy's just mentioned it's 300 now, starting at 230. growing and growing and growing. There's new people every day. If you're going to have silence in all of this, in the face of the harm that they're presenting to you, that's not it's not neutrality. It's a decision that you're making, you're actively making not to do what your job is. Yes, I understand you don't have the authority to remove a judge. Nobody asked that. Not asking that, asking for you to preserve records, asking for you to refer the allegations, to have oversight bodies, to clearly state whether you're going to support this, support what's happening for these changes, like I'm just hearing that may be possible with you. We're asking that from everybody. It's not just me that's asking it. It's not just, the few that have stood here. It's all that have not been able to present it. They've been encouraged not to, by the way. You go into these places, you go in and talk to somebody in these programs, okay? Domestic violence was encouraging people, hey, don't report this. Don't go upsetting these judges or these attorneys because they will retaliate. They will be worse for you. You're telling someone who's being an abused victim of crimes to keep on taking it. So the verbal statements that you've made, Commissioner Zitter, you're telling people to stand firm and to fight are very appreciated. But it is really hard if you feel that you're alone. So we want those responses from you. I've asked for the 30-day timeline. I want a response to the email that I sent. I want to know what we can all do. I've volunteered my time to help. If you need someone to go be a gopher for something, I will. Okay? I know you can't interact with me. I get that. But I've got time. Okay? I'll volunteer.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, in between. Go ahead.
Just a clarification, where I think there might be a difference between this group, this Board of Commissioners, and maybe some of the generalities that were spoken of. And you can attest the fact that I have met. I have met with people, and we're setting up a workshop, so we're not doing anything. And it was at the direction of these gentlemen that I meet with people, that I take comments, that we try to set up a workshop. And so I just wanted to provide a little cover for my board here that I think has been extraordinarily gracious and platforming folks that otherwise have not been. And so I would look forward to working with you with the understanding, though, that this is maybe the only best group of friends that you've got that actually do want to engage. Thank you very much.
And Mr. Chairman, if I might, Mr. Danzel, all of these meetings are recorded and documented and saved. Everything that's been stated at that mic is in forever. It's there for anybody to go back and listen to the meeting, and you can hear every public comment, if that's what you were talking about. Everything is documented. We are going to have the workshop, as Mr. Danzel already stated, and we are going to try to get to the bottom of this. But your numbers are key. Keep growing. Get more and more people. Fill this room up on that workshop.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
I was just going to add on to everything that they've already said, but yeah, I mean, I was told to be quiet because if I wasn't, that the commissioners, judges, and Carrie Hales Davenport would make sure I would be in jail. And this is from an attorney in Seattle that consulted with me from the Northwest Justice Project. And she said that a lot of attorneys will not take on Benton Franklin County because they are all aware of the same situation occurring. And it's just too much. But they told me to be quiet. And I just can't, I mean, what else do I have to lose at this point? And by the way, the judges taking these kids away is causing mental emotional harm to them. It's helping create more problem children out there to fund their programs, apparently. Because my oldest is now 15. He is into drugs and alcohol, stealing, all of the above. But also over the years, he's watched his father torment me, and he's watched his father get away with literally violating I don't know how many laws, including my own domestic violence protection order that's been in place for years. So all we've done is show him that, you know what, if you lie and you cheat and you do whatever the heck you want to do, even though it's not good for you in society, you're going to get away with it. And the person that's obeying the laws is the one that's going to suffer. And that's what I've been afraid of my kids seeing this entire time over these last 6 years now of going to family court. And that's pretty much what's happened. Him and now my 13-year-old, she just turned 13. I don't see her. I don't know what's going on with her. And my youngest, who is now 8, is begging to come home. He has said it in front of a visitation supervisor, "Mommy, when can I come home? I'm scared of Daddy." He's now scared of his brother and his sister. He's not allowed to show me emotion. And that was witnessed by the supervisor, who asked him, "Are you scared to show your mom any attention or any hugs or any love?" And he just looked down at the ground and he got very quiet. She said, "Who are you scared of?" And he wouldn't say anything. So then she started saying, "Are you scared of your mommy?" He said, "No." "Are you scared of your daddy?" He said, "Yes." "Are you scared of your brother?" "Yes." I know what's happening in that house. I know why my kids are acting this way. And it's not just my kids, it's all these other kids. And they're going to come out of it, and they're going to be problems to society. So it disgusts me to hear these court commissioners and judges coming in here asking for funding for, juvenile programs? Because they're the ones taking our kids from the good home and putting them in the bad home, and it's causing all these issues. And I do appreciate you guys helping. I did make a post about this on social media, and about you guys actually being the only ones to hear us and to offer some kind of help. I had several other people come up to me and tell me, "Thank you guys for doing this." And one of them said, "If Clint Didier is on there, everybody better watch out." So, but they said, "I really hope you guys get something done because this is enough." And he's watching his granddaughter go through it.
Thank you for your comments.
Thank you.
Anybody further for public comment? Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I'm somebody that's very solutions focused, so these kinds of things drive me crazy, and as someone that's personally experienced this stuff, I would like to direct anyone that's dealing with any type of these family court issues and to go to the dueprocessproject.org. It's a team of attorneys that are looking at exactly what the Honorable Mr. Didier referenced, 42 USC 1983 federal.
1984.
I'm sorry. Yeah, thank you. Looking into that stuff. And then I also wanted to ask you, Mr. Didier, if you're willing to share who you spoke with that you're referencing up north that might have some solutions. Are you allowed to share that?
It wasn't even about this topic.
Oh,
We're
okay.
We're not even supposed to interact, but
Oh,
I
okay.
see the correlation is all
Yes,
I can say.
yeah. So the dueprocessproject.org is documenting hundreds, thousands of cases, especially in our county. And also the drafted, I'm calling it the Decker Law. It's a proposed bill that's being backed by legislative reps from bipartisan groups, is holding guardian ad litems that violate their rules and their ethics, and also judges, those kinds of things. That proposed bill is being backed by bipartisan two legislative reps and their legal teams. It's being reviewed right now. So our justice is coming and the protections are coming, and I have faith, just like Mr. Didier. So thank you. You guys are so amazing. It is incredible that you're listening and that you're acting. The cost of domestic violence is $3.6 trillion. That's $11,000 for every person in the United States. We're upset about raised taxes. We're upset about losing funding everywhere, right? The solution's there. We just have to create some framework, right? So thank you guys. Have a good day.
Thank you. Anybody further for public comment? Anybody on the phone? No. Thank you. We will close the public comment period. Next on our agenda is executive session. Do we have need of an executive session?
Mr. Chairman, it appears we do.
Yes, so I will need an executive session to discuss two matters, but both matters will be under RCW 4230-110-1I, double I, potential litigation, and then the members could be the board, Mr. Danzel, the county administrator, the clerk of the board, and myself.
And how much time do you think?
10 minutes at the most, so.
Okay, we will now proceed into executive session under RCW 4230-110-1I for 10 minutes, and we will start the clock on the executive session at 10:21, and we'll come out of executive session at 10:31. Thank you, everyone, for being here today. We are back from executive session. Is there any other business for the good of the county?
Not that I know of at this time, sir.
Thank you. With that, this meeting is adjourned.